what are some of your biggest pet peeves when it comes to new comics, like mistakes you see people making?
I love young comics hanging around. I love it. My booker probably gets a little annoyed because she gets harassed so much. But I would just say, you just want to be cognizant of a young comic of just lingering. Like sometimes I can feel when a comic, like I'll be in a conversation with like someone and you can just feel them breathing. So, that's something I would advise a young comic not to do. I would also advise a young comic not to promote another show at another venue while on stage. I've seen that. That's pretty silly. And I've seen young comics sometimes think they're better than stuff. You're not better than anything. And I know I keep talking about the bringer thing because when we took over the comedy club, we did bringer auditions. And I didn't really do it because it was a money grab. I did it because I wanted to see how serious the comic was about audition, because they weren't auditioning for like a janitor. I know a lot of these like new talent shows, they're like, oh, we're going to have the booker from this. And it's just BS. I legitimately am in the room watching you as the owner of the club. And I can't tell you how many comics are like, I don't do bringers. And I was like, then, you're not going to get an audition. Because unless I know, because my view was I'm giving you a job interview. I'm asking you to bring a couple people. I will be in the room. I will give you a real assessment, and so I'm not saying do bringers. What I'm saying is just don't be better than anyone. If you really want to get into a club or work with someone, and if they want you to do something that maybe, unless it's like completely off the wall, but if they want you to do something and it's legit, just do it.
There's also the when a comedian says to you, I don't do bringers, there's an attitude that comes with the phrase that I've heard a lot of comic go, oh, I don't do bringer shows. But when you're just trying to get in with people, you'll find out if someone goes, hey, can you bring people? It's the way that they present it. I feel a lot of the times is that there's a level of arrogance there.
Yeah, I have I have a comic friend of mine. Well, my wife's friend, she's getting into stand up, and she goes, "Hey, Emilio, this booker here asked me to do this, but they want me to bring people. What do you think?" I said, "I think you should do it, but if they ask you over and over and over and over and over again, tell them to fuck off. You do it one time, okay, and you do a good job at that one time. And if it leads to an internship, you take the internship. And if it leads to more stage time, you take that." But just don't be exploited. That's where the exploitation happens. Okay. So I think as a young comic, as a young business person, as anyone, you have to give someone the benefit of the doubt, and it's okay to just try. I had one comic who really wanted to audition who was like, man, I can't get someone to give $20 to watch me perform. I was like, then why the fuck would I want to work with you?
Yeah.
Like this is a test. Like I want to see how you're gonna, and listen, and again, I'm talking about like very early on, like there have been comics who were like, hey, I only have 2 people coming. I'm like, that's fine. Like, I don't care. It's just, I want to see the effort. I want to see that you're doing it. I want to see, that to me is more important than anything. You know what I mean?
If you also have multiple spots at that club, it's if you're on stage, you go, hey, if you want to see me again, I'll be back here next week at this time. That's your ability to create that database, not only for you, but for the club.
Totally.
And if the more people are coming to see you, the club notices. The club knows that people are coming to see you again and again. And that's similar here in LA because, you're not going out of town. It's you're staying at these same clubs. So, you're going to the same club like week after week. It's not hard to build a fan base for yourself as long as you're up there. You can even bomb. As long as you're at the back door saying thank you to people when they're leaving, you're going to build yourself an audience.
Yeah. And as a young comic, look, you just you again, do every show you can, do every bar show. People talk, man. Word gets around quick, and be accessible, be available, you want to hang out, but you don't want to hang around. Does that make sense? Like you want to come and be seen, but you don't want to be that guy who's like, dude, who's that guy who's always hanging out in the green? Oh, that's the other thing. Like we have a green room. Man, I can't even tell you how many times in the green room it'll be like, it'll just be, there'll be a lineup. Look, again, I don't want to give the impression that anyone's better than anyone because they're not. But you just got to be aware. If the owner's in the green room talking to like Bill Burr or talking to freaking Andrew Schultz and talking to Mark, don't just sit there and just hang. I mean, the green room's not that big, because in New York, we run our club very open. It's very accessible. Like, we're not the kind of club that's like, you can't be here, you can't be there, you can't. We want it to feel like, but don't make me have to be like, hey, dude, like, maybe this isn't the right time to be sitting here. Do you know what I mean? Like, just know that, like, we had Kevin Hart come by one time. It was like madness. It was like our booker had to like have like it was like a mother. Like, the next day she had to like sit down all of our young comics, because we do, like, you know, again, we view ourselves as a development club that is fortunate enough to have lineups that we have, you know? So we have a nice blend of killers and young guys that we want to work in, you know? And there's a chain that moves, you know? Like, a comic that we were working, you know, one of our young comics many years ago was Ricky Velez. Now Ricky is blown up, you know what I mean? So, and Ricky sure as hell never sat down when we were talking to whoever, you know, Tracy Morgan, and just sat there and loitered, you know? So you just gotta, like, just have common sense. Your time is going to come, especially in a club like New York Comedy Club, where there's nowhere to really run anyway. We're all in this tight space as is.